Good morning, All Souls Community Church. It's Monday, April the 13th, Easter Monday. It's raining, but it's a glorious day to be alive. All day yesterday, we were proclaiming to one another on Zoom calls, on the internet, on our social media, He is risen, He is risen, He is risen. And we celebrated that, and yet there are some of us, and maybe many of us, who on some level struggle to believe that. And if you're one who's listening right now who's outside of the church, who doesn't believe that at all and has wondered, like, what's the deal here? I'm a rationalist. I'm a materialist. I like to use reason to live my life, right? Like this idea of someone dying and then rising from the dead is ridiculous. If you've ever wrestled with that or struggled with that, or maybe it's no struggle at all, if that's just the way you feel, can I encourage you to realize that you're in the Bible? You may not have thought so, but John chapter 20, immediately after the resurrection, it says Jesus appears to some of his disciples, but one's missing. His name's Thomas. And Thomas says to the others who are testifying to him, hey, we've seen him. He is risen. His response is much like many of our responses. Unless I see him with my own eyes and touch the places in his hands where the nails went in and the place in his side where the spear went in, unless I do those things, unless I see and touch myself, I will, listen, never believe. It's Thomas's words. The story goes on, it says 8 days later, and the beauty of the 8 days is that in Jewish tradition, when a newborn comes into the earth, comes into living, has to be presented at the temple 8 days after birth. 8 days is the day of presentation. And so 8 days after Jesus rises from the dead, he presents himself here to Thomas. And he says, peace be with you. And Thomas is like, and then he says, touch my hands. Here, touch my side. And Thomas's response is, my Lord and my God. The resurrection of Jesus is evidence that Jesus is exactly who he claimed to be, the Mashiach, the Son of the living God. And Jesus turns to him and says something very interesting. He says, Thomas, you believe because you've seen, but blessed is the one who believes without seeing. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear your story? Jesus is saying you and I are blessed if we believe now, even without seeing. But he's also talking to Thomas there. Don't miss that. He's saying, Thomas, you missed out on blessing over the last 8 days, thankfully only 8 days, by not believing, by not entering into this story that I've come to make yours, the story that's mine that I've come to make yours, the story of resurrection. You've missed out on hope and joy and love and community and all the things that I came to bring, even in the face of crucifixion. You missed out on that. You missed the blessing. Don't miss it. The message for all of us today, no matter where we have given in to doubt, no matter where we might be skeptical of this whole notion of him being risen, is an invitation to come in and to believe even without seeing. Now, please don't misunderstand that. It's not blind faith. There is no such thing as blind faith. It is evidenced and confirmed faith. Thomas was given testimony by eyewitnesses who had seen Jesus. That's evidence. He had heard of the empty tomb. That's evidence. Right? There's evidence, and then there was confirmation when Jesus came walking right into his life. Can I encourage you this morning? God has given us evidence, and I'll just point to a couple things. On Thursday, one of our own, Fred, had a heart attack. On Monday, Thursday, and many of you rallied. Many of you rallied right away in the morning, and about an hour later, we got news that he came through surgery to put a stent in, and to quote the doctors, it could not have gone any better. You think, oh, well, that's just coincidence. Those are doctors. No, that's answer to prayer, evidence. Many of you have been praying for our friend Manal, who's been on a ventilator for 3 weeks now. And can I tell you, on Friday, they took her off the ventilator. She's now on oxygen. She's going to live. Our God answers prayer, even when the doctors don't know, even when the medicine doesn't work. Evidenced faith. And then for confirmation, I'm going to share with you a story soon in full. I'm going to let this guy speak for himself. But on Good Friday, one of our college students who's been wrestling with who God is and how to relate to him, he sent to me a message. He said, on Good Friday, Jesus came and sat down next to me. He changed my life, and I've forever given him my heart. Evidenced and confirmed It's the way our God works. And he's inviting you today, even on this rainy Easter Monday, to step into that story and to believe even before you see, not blindly, but with the evidence, part of which is the very video you're watching right now. Wherever you are, God encourages you, invites you even, to push away doubt and to step into this story that he will show you more and more of. The veracity, the truth thereof, but also the reality of who he is and how much he loves you. God bless you. He is risen.